Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's Darkest Timeline. Stuck with me for the day, I'm afraid, and I am all over the map in this one. I think somewhere along the line I had a plan in my head, and that went out the window in the first few words. There's a lot of talk about food and fasting and eating and not eating and how to do this and what's going on and what's best and what to do in the future. Something about eggs, climbing, and companies that just want all the money. Let's put it that way. There's TV, movies, and games, both flat and VR, so plenty of entertainment stuff in there for you as well. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Obviously, the big one, the one we like the most, the favourite of the podcast, is share this podcast around. It means a lot to us. It's a big help to us. We really do appreciate it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Darkest Timeline. Hello! How you doing? You well? Ooh. I've eaten too much. And what I mean by that is I've eaten, so it's too much. Ha! How you doing? You well? You having a good week, time, life? You know the deal. If you're not, drop me an email. This week's podcast, such a mix, a mismatch. I don't feel like I'm saying that right. Mismatch. What I want is mash, but I think it's match. So, yeah, I'm not getting what I want from that. I've got a lot of the same stuff to talk about. Like I looked at the first thing on the list and I was like, fucking hell, is that this week's list? Because that feels like a million years ago at this point. So, yeah, if that's the first thought that goes through your head when you look at the list, it's probably downhill from there. Some strange entertainment-based stuff. It's gonna be all over the map. Let's be real here. It's gonna be all over the map. I think I've drunk 2 caffeinated drinks. I am drinking a third, all in the last couple of hours. Yeah. So, last week, I don't know at which point it was. I can work it backwards, if I'm honest. And then this is the part I remind myself, it doesn't fucking matter. So, a day last week, I was having an eating day, and I was like, right, I've got to keep it super clean. I've just got to go all out protein, nothing outside of that realm, like a little bit of this, but just protein. And it was all like cottage cheese and I was going to say rice cakes, knowing full well that it wasn't. It was corn cakes. I think there was like peanut butter involved. There might have been an egg, like a boiled. I think it was a boiled egg. And the other key was to not eat anything else. That was it. So, I stuck to it, which I can't say the same this evening. This evening went off the rails in a bad way. Psychologically, there's a reason for that I understand. But it doesn't change anything, so that's fun. Anyway, I stuck to my guns. Heavy protein, not much else, not much actual eating, and that was that. Went to bed, got up the next day, got on the scales, put a pound on. I was like, okay, this is good. I can work with this. I can stick in this realm. I can live with this. I can. This could be a thing. I could do this. Okay. Everything's good. Everything's great. Everything's groovy. A day later, stuck, very strict. It was all nothing but protein, whilst keeping it low. Like, I think I ate in the afternoon. I think it was like, I'm just gonna have some of this and then nothing else. And then in the evening, I was like, right, we're gonna go mega protein meal, super protein meal. So I went with like omelette, like spinach and mushroom, and then vegetarian sausages on the side. I was like, this is protein right here. I'm maxing out on protein. This is great. I love it. I got the next day, I stepped on the scales. I was like, fuck. I think I might have put on 3 pounds. So 4 in total for the eating days. Now then, several different ways to look at this. One is £4 compared to what I was putting on previously. Not a lot of weight. £4 is not a lot of weight. That's not an issue. It's not a problem. So there you go. But if you compare what I was eating to what I had eaten, worlds apart. It's taken me... this was something I wanted to look at because I got real confused. I think there might have been a day where I put weight on... there's a long list now. It's going on a long time. Yeah. Okay, so between there and there, yeah, £3. A day later, lost 2 of the 3. A day later, lost another 2. So 3 days in, lower weight. That's actually interesting. Lower weight than starting at. No, I think it was matched weight. I've got different numbers written down here, and it's very complicated. It's not very complicated. It's complicated for me because I'm an idiot. And then a day later, like 0.4 of pounds. A day later, lowest ever on Sunday. And then something happened, which I'm going to talk about because I've made a note of it. Where is that? You see, I'm jumping through the list while skipping stuff, so I need to make sure I know where I am. So put on weight. Does anybody know what a picnic egg is? Any sort of hardcore vegetarians would probably know. Any of you full-blooded meat eaters out there might not. Picnic egg is Quorn's version of a Scotch egg, but small, tiny version. Like, I was going to say like a golf ball, they're even smaller than that. So think Scotch egg, but tiny. We had some in the fridge that we'd had for at least a week, if not longer at that point. And I was like, oh man, they were bought specifically for a reason. And that reason has passed and they are still in the fridge. So let me check the date. And they went out of date yesterday. So I was like, oh, bro. And when I checked, I was like, it's half a packet here. So I was like, right, we've got to be a little bit more loose with certain things these days. So I'm going to eat 2 picnic eggs in a fasting window for 2 reasons. 1, test a theory. 2, so the food doesn't go to waste. Simple as that. So I was like, right, here we go. My plan was that I was going to say to Leanne, can you finish these off? There's like X number left. And I just wanted to see what would happen if in a fasting window I had these 2 small things to see what the weight difference would be. So I ate them nice and early. That was the point. I ate them nice and early so that I had all day to burn them. That was probably the first mistake, because that gave me and my food-addled brain time to convince myself that having eaten 2 early in the day and being later hungry during the day, that meant that my body had gone, ooh, food, and had basically, just taken it down to some sort of atomic level and taken everything and put it where it needed to go. And those picnic eggs didn't exist anymore. So eating another couple wouldn't be that big a deal. And I was like, come on, let's face it, these things are what, like 50 calories each, I would guess. They're basically nothing really. There's nothing much to them, it's like a tiny bit of an egg yolk, some corn and some like breadcrumbs. I was like, okay, what I can do is I can eat another couple of these. And then I'll just say to Lan, oh, there's a couple of those there. Chuck them in with your tea. Job done. We all know where this story goes. I almost don't need to tell it. I will, but we all know where the story goes. So 6 picnic eggs down. But, come on, it's like 300 calories. Over a day with almost nothing else. I didn't feel like I needed a load of other things. I was like, this is a winner. This is a win. Just need to see what the weight is tomorrow. I had it in my head that I wouldn't put any weight on. And all of those sorts of things that you would probably imagine. Got this morning, got on the scales, I'd put a pound on. Which part of me was like, that's not too bad. A pound, that's not too bad. Weighing myself before a run, expecting that I'd get a couple of pounds out of my run. I was like, that's not too bad. That's doable. I can work with that. But then there was the other part of me that was like, I can't believe I put on a pound. Only 6 little things. I can't believe I put on a pound. So, going back to something that I was saying that when I started all this, was I've hit this thing now where I'm like, what I want to be doing is I want to be going high protein, clean, limited amounts of food. I don't want loads of food. I just want high protein, clean eating, and to kind of move on with my life. I've got other plans at this point in time, which, if you really wanted me to, I could go into at length. But if you reach, like, I'm starting to think that I've maybe topped out my weight loss at this point. I look at my week and I'm like, oh, I lost 4 pounds. But I started 4 pounds heavier, so I lost the weight that I put on. It's very sort of simple kind of, well, this, it was easy to lose 10 pounds in a week when I had 10 pounds to lose. It's simple at this point in time. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still difficult. It's difficult to put that weight on. It's difficult to then have to work that weight off. Comes back to the argument of, okay, what if it was muscle? If you're eating a lot of protein and you're working out and you're doing X number of other things, why isn't it muscle? It could be. Since switching to a heavy protein focus, and I'll say this, some of the drinks that I've been consuming recently, because I work on the principle that although liquid calories and liquid largely sugars aren't exempt, I do think that they're not what I would call free. They are easier to process, I think, is the way that I look at it. So I've started adding protein drinks into my drinking schedule, and I have seen and noticed a difference from that side of things. So, could it be muscle? Yes. If it is muscle, is that okay? Yes. Can you say for definite that that's what it is? I can't. No. I saw a video recently. I was talking about there was this girl who was saying that both of her parents were bodybuilders, and it was like 3 or 5 lessons that she learned from them. One of them was, don't go by the scales, go by your belt. My belt says, I need a new belt and a new pair of jeans. I got new jeans. At the point I dropped a lot of weight, and my jeans and belt are telling me that I need new ones, because my jeans are doing that thing where you've pulled your belt so tight that they've like doubled over. So yeah, there's that. There are some other things. So something that I've written down as a thing to talk about, which a difficulty. What's that phrase? A nice problem to have. So take myself off for a little run, and then into a climb Saturday morning. For whatever reason, let's say in the name of improvement, a little while ago, I set myself the task of always walking away from climbing with an achievement, no matter how small, no matter what. Whenever I walked away from it, I had to walk away with an achievement. So that can be as small as I tried a new whatever, or I took an additional handhold, foothold, something like that, on a route I've been working on. At this point in time, I am sticking in line with that. I have achieved a series of things over the last couple of weeks that are big sort of climbing achievements for me personally, and felt going into Saturday that I had some clear goals, routes, etc. A couple of other things that I wanted to try. I was set. I was ready to go. I went for my run. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say hate, but really strongly dislike Saturday morning run. Saturday morning run is the point that I feel that you're pretty much at your lowest, because it's the last dregs of exercise for the week, because Sunday's rest day. So you kind of screeching in sideways. Last run, last climb, last workout of the week is Saturday morning for me. I get to climbing. I go in. I have a look at what's new. I'm like, cool, there's some interesting stuff. I was like, right, I want to... something that's been sort of annoying me a little bit recently is I've not been climbing new stuff when it's new, and I feel like I'm missing... I don't want to say missing out, but I feel like I'm missing a step, because I'm trying to not say too afraid, but I just don't want to get in anyone's way, because there's a lot of good people, good climbers, and I don't want to be in the way. But again, an achievement. I was like, right, I'm just going to rattle through all of the new climbs I can do. So that's what I did. And that was basically that done. But when you're faced with an hour to do other stuff, I was like, right, okay, I can go and look at some other stuff. Friend of mine sent me a message saying, oh, I'm running late this morning, I'll be there in a bit. So I was a bit like, I need to rattle through some other stuff before they get here. And before the gassing starts. Because we're a little bit like a couple of little old ladies when we get together. We're just natter. And I am trying to get this climbing stuff done. So I got a couple more things, and I was like, right, I need to find something, because I've been trying something. And I just wasn't quite getting the last bit. So I was like, right, let's try something else. Let's try a different one. I tried another one, and it was sometimes, and for me quite often, you get things that are a bit non-starter kind of thing. You're a bit like, I am not able to do this and won't be able to do this, and I don't think even practice is going to get me past this, so I'm not going to bother. So I tried one and was like, nope, this is not for me. And then I tried another one and went, this one's interesting. This one could be for me. So put quite a bit in at that point in time. And then my mate turned up and I was like, hey, I'm trying this and I'm getting some good results with this. So I really want to give this a go. So I go back to it. And what starts developing is this drive versus fatigue / exhaustion. Again, one of those situations, know your limits kind of thing. I can't expect to be putting almost no fuel in my body and expect it to live up to the things that I want to be able to do. So I felt this new-ish feeling of, oh no, I am getting tapped out, I am getting gassed out here. But I want to be able to do it. My mate was like, "Oh, what about this one? Have you tried this one?" I was like, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, I can't get past this bit." So I'm like, "Oh, well, let me show you. I'll show you, just that bit." Because I didn't want to do it all and, take that enjoyment away from him. But I was also trying to reserve energy. I was like, I got to keep some energy in the tank, man, because I am getting tapped out. Reached a point where I was like, I think the tank might be empty. And I was like, look, let's get a drink and have a bit of a rest, basically. So we stood talking for a bit. We had coffee and stuff like that. And I was admittedly able to go back and do a little bit more. But, having this kind of fatigue, exhaustion whilst trying to go kind of balls to the wall. Interesting. Does probably highlight the, like I say, the lack of fuel, the lack of energy. So, yeah, just some sort of food for thought type things that have come up recently. Final thought for the week. I generally don't like to badmouth companies. You never know, you never know what comes down the line. There is a certain company that recently I've become less and less of a fan of. A company that I was a massive fan of for a very long time, and I still admittedly use, but more and more recently, just less and less of a fan, and I find myself using them less and less. And a friend of mine often says, you vote with your wallet. So if you don't like a company, you don't buy from them. And I'm very much, I very much agree. There is a particular company who I have, in the past, did like a investment thing, invested money, with wild promises of things which that company then didn't deliver on. And then when I chased them on it, they were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, no worries. We'll sort that out for. We'll send you a bit of something to apologise for any delays or any sort of mixed messages or anything like that." And then they just didn't. And I have actively gone out of my way to never purchase anything from them since. Because, as I said at the time, massive middle finger to anybody that decided to invest and help them grow, which was the whole point. So there are just companies out there that previously I would have used and been happy to sort of give money to. I'm less likely to do that these days. Now, admittedly, I will hold my hands up and say that I do feel that there is still a place for these companies in my world, but I reduce, let's say, and actively go out of my way to look elsewhere for things. So, Saturday, Sunday, and today I have had dealings with this company. It's one of those things because normally I just do I'll let you work it out, but part of me's like, it's going to become very obvious very fast who this company is, so maybe I should just be like, fuck these guys. Saturday night I watched a movie I bought in good faith. a movie I purchased from a particular company who do, amongst other things, they do movies you can stream if you pay money. Which I did. I bought a movie from them because I haven't seen it in many, many years. And I was like, I fancy watching that. Realised very quickly I'd bought the director's cut. And was like, all right, cool. That's interesting. It wasn't interesting. I'll come on to it in a bit. And that was that. I got right to the end of the film. I'd enjoyed watching it. A lot, but yeah, I'll come on to it in a bit. As I'm getting to the end of the film that I've paid good, hard-earned money for, right at the very end, I'm like, right, let's finish strong, and then I can turn this off and I can go and play computer games or do whatever it is that I do with my life. The movie ends. Not only do I not get the credits for the film, I don't get the end of the film. Because the end of the film is interrupted by, and this has got to be the finest way to do this. The end of the film is interrupted by an advert telling me that my movie was brought to me by that company with limited interruptions. I was decidedly unimpressed, to say the least. I was like, the fucking what? Are you fucking kidding me? You have just interrupted the end of a film I was watching that I paid for to tell me that you brought me that film out of the goodness of your heart with limited interruptions. Hey, spoilers, there should have been no fucking interruptions whatsoever. I paid for that film. Fuck you. P.S. and I can't stress this enough, there is another streaming service that I pay a hell of a lot of money to for one reason and one reason only, so I don't have to see the adverts. Because on all of these stupid streaming services, some of them, a lot of them, have now switched over to this bullshit fucking advertisement system. One of the services, I won't have the adverts. I can't do it, and I get it cheaper anyway because I do it through my phone contract, etc, etc, etc. So I pay the full whack. Apparently, the way around that one is they will show you an advert for something that is on their streaming service, but they'll allow you to skip it. That's the way around it, ladies and gents. Still showing you an advert. So fuck you and your absolute monstrous amount of money you're paying them. Fuck you. Anyway, we're not talking about that one. That's just a peeve, because when you've watched 11 episodes of a TV series and 11 episodes features an advert at the start for a service you pay to not have to see any fucking adverts. Anyway, so I was most disappointed in the fact that I'd been watching a film that was interrupted by a thing to tell me that there were no interruptions of a film I'd paid for. Yesterday, myself and my youngest daughter were making food. We were making flatbreads. If you've never made a flatbread, honestly, 2 ingredients, couldn't be simpler. We added a couple of things, a couple of little but super simple to make, and by all accounts, they were great. I didn't have one, but everybody else did, and they wolfed them down, and apparently they were fantastic. as correctly pointed out to me by my daughter, Daddy, do you know what the first thing you need when you do some cooking? And I started laughing because I knew what she was going to say. And I was like, go on then, what's that? She was like, you need music. I was like, you are right. That's absolutely true. This goes back a long time where I always used to say to her, before you do any cooking or baking, you need music. Because music is good for the soul and it's good for the food. Makes it soul food. So she told us off, she comes back. Because I said to her, why don't you go get the speakers we'll put on so we can actually hear it whilst we're cooking. She goes away, she comes back with speakers. I was like, cool. I was like, right, I'm going to connect through not my usual music streaming service for the simple reason that my usual streaming service only has on it the music I've purchased, which, well, my youngest daughter is not going to want to listen to. But I have another streaming service, same streaming service that brought me 11/12 of a movie the night before. Now, I do not give them any money at all. Once upon a time, I had music streaming through them, and it was fine. But like all streaming service, it was far too much money for ridiculous things like music that I own elsewhere. So I never bother with them. However, I once upon a time used to buy music. I once used to buy CDs, but every now and then buy some music, buy a CD, buy whatever. Sometimes when you buy a CD, you'd get a digital copy of that CD. Sometimes you just go, I'll just buy the album digitally. So I put some music on for me and my daughter to listen to, and because it was me and her, I'm not going to put my music on, so I put some Disney music on for her, and away we went. After a while, the cooking was done and she'd gone, but I was still doing stuff. So I was like, I'll put my music on. So I found an album that I own because I've paid good, hard-earned cash. I've paid my money. Paid my money, haven't I? Paid my money. When I went into the album, there's a banner across the top. They were like, why don't you sign up for our streaming service? I was like, nah, I'm good, thanks. There was a symbol, like I was like, that's the shuffle symbol. Doesn't apply to me. I own this album. I don't need to pay for your streaming service, Mr. Sir. I own this album. I paid money for it, so it's fine. First track on, and away we go. Had a little boogie, doing my cookings, and the first track finished, and then the second track came on. It wasn't the second track. It was the eighth track because the shuffle selection, the shuffle option was on. I was like, oh man, I don't need it shuffled, thank you. I don't want that. I pressed the shuffle button to be informed that, oh no, the service has applied the shuffle feature to the music. If I want to just listen to the album, I can sign up to the streaming service. I don't need to do that. I own the album, so I'll just listen to it, thanks. And I kept pressing shuffle, and it kept telling me to sign up to the service. And I was like, interesting. So I came out of that album, and I went into another album that I own, that I paid money for. Yep, that one was the same. Okay. What about the next one? What about the other albums that I own that I've paid money for? Oh, it's on all of them, is it? Are you fucking kidding me? What you're saying is I can't listen to the music that I have paid money for through said streaming service because I haven't signed up to the streaming service, which in theory you wouldn't have to because I bought the music. Cool. At work today, and I went, oh shit, completely meant to order something. I meant to do it on Saturday, completely passed me by, and then I meant to do it yesterday and I didn't. I'll do it today because I need it for tomorrow. It's fine, it's no problem. I'll order it, I'll pay for it now. Problem solved. Found the item I wanted, went through the process, and it was like, oh, this has been delivered on Wednesday. What do you mean Wednesday? That's not 1 day delivery. It's Monday today. If I order it today, I want it tomorrow. That's the service that I pay for. I don't understand because it's not cheap. I pay, a lot of money each year to have this service. Right, okay, whatever. If it's probably just this item, let me have a look for something similar. Yeah, something similar. Something similar that they had a lot in common. Something that was in common for all of the items I was looking at, and that was every item said that it would be delivered on Wednesday. Because apparently, said company just decided to not do next day delivery anymore. Now it's 2-day delivery or turns up when it fucking wants delivery. And I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? This company is worth billions and billions and billions. Probably, barring the odd company here or there, probably the biggest company in the world. And they are they're basically on their ass at this point. They're struggling so much they need to cut the end of the film that I paid for off, stop me listening to my music because I don't give them even more money, and not deliver my items because, fuck knows. Because that's a service I pay for. So I said to Lana, I was like, what the fuck is going on with this company? She was like, get on social media and put a message out and ask them. I was like, they ain't going to give two flying fucks. They wouldn't care less. They will go through their vast wealth to find the notes that I gave them and then use those notes to dry their tears whilst, I don't know, hunting human beings or something. The level of greed in this world at this point in time is astronomical. If you've got billions and billions and billions and billions, why do you need any more? Why do you need more? What are you going to achieve at this point in time? Here's an idea. Give those services away for free. Okay, so I bought a movie. Let me watch it for free. It's not free. I bought it. I paid for it. Just leave me to it. My music that I bought and paid for, let me have a listen. For free. Even though I paid for it. And the delivery service that I pay for, Let me have that for free as well. How much money will you have lost versus how much money will you have gained? Because A, I paid for my movie. B, paid for my music. And C, I paid for my delivery. You got 3 lots of money out of me. Did you really need more on top of that? The actual fuck is going on? Anyway, speaking of streaming TV series, I've watched episode 2 all the way up to episode 10 of Andor Series 2. Now then, we really need to get into this because I've got a lot to say. I've got thoughts. So, to illustrate my point, I think what I'm going to do is, I thought about this the other day and I was like, that might not be the worst idea. Unfortunately, I absolutely should have done this sooner if this was going to be the plan. Oh, I might have found it already. Oh, yep, these messages look long. Okay, this is a conversation I had with a friend of mine recently. I don't feel like I'm telling tales out of school, other than the fact that I used to do a podcast with this person many moons ago. He sent me a message and he said, I think the critics are working about Andor. Not sure what that means. I like it, but I don't think it catches the essence of Star Wars, if I'm honest. Little bit of a red rag to a bull at this point in time to receive that message. So, here's what I said. I've watched Series 1 and 3 episodes into Series 2. Andor feels like a parent telling a child to grow up, stop enjoying lightsabers, X-Wing, TIE fighters, space battles, blasters, the Force, and instead learn about galactic politics. It feels like the majority of the criticism for the prequel movies, not enough of the fun stuff from Star Wars, and just dull things that people don't really care about. The TIE fighter bit on the planet at the start of Series 2 was better than all of Series 1 put together. And it was, 2 minutes long, if that? Anyway, fingers crossed we get another 3 episodes about arranged marriages. That'll be fun. My friend responded, yeah, I felt the first 3 episodes were probably the slowest. But, in my opinion, Skeleton Crew is the best series so far. It feels like Star Wars. It's light and just fun to watch. Andor has become Star Wars Daredevil. Different conversation about how Daredevil's boring. I said, 100% agree. Skeleton Crew was fun. I really like fun. When I reviewed it, I said, this is what I signed up for all those years ago. This is what I devoted my fandom to. And it delivered. I'm not here for galactic politics. I'm here for shooty bang bang and lightsabers. Oh, and if you can add some fun to it, I'll be happy. Skeleton Crew delivered in a big way, which leads me to the big question. With all the lore, fiction, and everything available to them, why is Star Wars mostly shit? I feel that's a valid point. My friend said, you are spot on. Imagine you know nothing about Star Wars. You start with Skeleton Crew, then move to Andor. I was like, Jesus, there's a thought. Yikes, I look at it from my children's perspective. Right, children, let's sit down and watch small pockets of bigger story cause the rest is boring. I.e., I'll be like, here, watch this, but don't watch this. Oh, let's watch this, but not this. My friend said, it's so far away from the original trilogy. Like, I know it's not 1977, and they don't make films like they used to in the 80s. But why is everything so serious all the time? Even the animated stuff is sometimes a hard watch. I just basically went back with, like I say, grow up and stop having fun. I was like, I remember when things used to be fun. It seems so long ago. And that was our conversation trailed off. And that was that. Now, going back to that point in my message, I had watched 3 episodes of Series 2 of Andor, and there was a bit that was good. Since then, got a lot better. Unfortunately, it's raised one glaring question for me. Series 2 is actually alright so far. But the only real question I have is, did we need any of Series 1 at this point in time? I'm like, we could have done with like, this might sound strange, but we need like a prequel episode. 1 episode for the entirety of the first series. I feel like the people that made it as a program should get the opportunity to go back and redo Series 1, but with the strict ruling that they're only allowed 1 episode. And I feel if that was the sort of... I nearly said, if that was the way... lol. If that was what they had the opportunity to do, you might get like a 1 hour episode, and then we can have Series 2. Series 2 is a lot better. There's a lot more going on. It feels more not upbeat, but more of a beat to it, like it's moving along a bit more of a clip. Like I say, all of the 3 episodes of weddings, arranged marriages, and how awful life is, they seem to have gone, which is nothing short of a blessing. And now we've got a couple more explosions and assassinations and things. A main character has been killed off. I won't spoil which, because, for want of a better way of putting it, is one of the last episodes of the series. I think I might have 1 or 2 episodes before finishing the series. And then I'll be done with it. I do think I'll probably watch Rogue One. When I finish the series, but I think I've seen Rogue One twice. And I think one of the times that I watched it, I really enjoyed it. And another time I watched it, I really didn't. And I can't remember which way round it was. Part of me thinks I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and then didn't enjoy it the second time. But I feel for continuity, I feel like I should give Rogue One a watch. There was a point in time where I'd watched like a whole episode, and I was like, I don't want to commit to another episode this evening. Let me see what else is out and about. Ended up floating over to another streaming service, let's say, because I'm about to go on and to slag these fuckers off. I stumbled across Castlevania Nocturne, and I watched the first episode, and it was very good. I really enjoyed it. I'd had that thing with the original Castlevania animated series where I'd really enjoyed it, but then it got to a point where I was like, this is getting really long in the tooth. Excuse the pun. And I think I finished a series, but I hadn't finished the series. There was another episode, and I was like, what could you possibly give me in another episode? And I don't think I watched the last episode. And then there was another series, and I was like, dude, for a program about killing off Dracula, and Dracula, spoilers by the way, but you know, there was then another series, and I was like, I'm out. I'm done. Thank you very much. So I was a bit like, okay. But I looked at some of the reviews and stuff, and there was one that was saying, like, one of the things that they put up on the screen was like, the most liked TV show by viewers. I was like, I mean, that's a bit of a claim. Certainly worth an episode. So I put it on and I watched the first episode and I enjoyed it. I have not watched any more of it. Why? Because I can't get into Netflix. Why? Because they wanted me to confirm my advertisement status. So I said, I don't want any fucking adverts. Not that I think that would make any difference. And they were like, oh, if you've selected that option, you need to scan the QR code. And there are two things on that. One, it's not my account, so scanning the QR code will do nothing. And two, my latest belief is that QR codes are a simple way of companies getting through all of the security on your phone and being able to just gather as much data as they want from you. I have no evidence to back that up. Just something that I started thinking recently, because QR codes are getting rammed down your throat left, right and centre at this point in time. And if that's the if that's how it's going to be, there has to be a reason. The movie that I was ranting and raving about was, I watched the director's cut of Sin City. I haven't seen Sin City in, I'm going to say 10 years, if not more. But I've seen a lot of clips recently and it made me want to watch it. So I purchased it, bought it. Wasn't allowed to watch it all though, was I? Director's cut. Never seen the director's cut, I don't think. The weird thing about the director's cut was, it was one of those films where you can go, oh, I can absolutely see why the theatrical version was the theatrical version and why this is the director's cut, because this has got a load of bits in that are completely unnecessary. There was a guy in it that had been cut out and I was like, yep, I fully agree on that cut. Absolutely didn't need that guy in it. Having not seen Sin City for a fair while, and going back and watching it again, there was always a part of Sin City that never quite sat right with me. If it's a film that you know, let's put it into the back third, shall we say. Never really sat well with me, that bit. It just felt weird. Seeing it, many years later and watching it again, I was like, wow, this bit of the film's weird. Not good weird at all. The more I was watching it, the more it's just super uncomfortable. The sort of theme. It's a bit like, oh, this guy's a bad guy, and this guy's a bad guy, and this guy's a bad guy. They're awful, they're terrible, they're the bad guys, but oof. As a whole, it's a great film. It's got some great actors playing great parts, playing them really well. Something that popped up that I thought was hilarious is Nick Offerman just turning up randomly, and I was like, I had to look it up just to make sure. I was like, is that? And it was. So that was amusing, but yeah, after sort of the like, you've got the Josh Hartnett section, great. You've got the Clive Owen, is it? That entire section that's got like Brittany Murphy, and what's her name? Yeah, fuck. Rosario Dawson. I knew it was in there somewhere. That entire bit's great. Not a massive Clive Owen fan. I don't think it's him personally. It's this weird kind of. I'm not a massive fan, but I couldn't tell you why. Because he's in stuff that I kind of like him in. It's weird. Obviously, the Marv stuff is just brilliant. Like every sort of element of that part of the film is just phenomenal. Mickey Rourke in that role, very much like a kind of like a born to play kind of role for him. I'll probably leave that there. Elijah Wood, Rutger Hauer. I did start doing the how many of the people that are in this film are alive at this point in time thing. And then I took it a level deeper and I was like, how many of the people in this film that are alive are well, should we say, like in one way or another? And I was a bit like, oof. So yes, a very mixed movie viewing in the sense that it's great, but it's weird, but it's cool, but a lot of people aren't alive anymore, and the ones that are alive are not in great places. And then, yeah, a couple of other people. It was a bit like, whew. So, yeah. I've got this weird thing. I was having this conversation today. I've got this weird thing coming up next week because I'm trying to get around the fact that I think I'm going to have to take my children to the cinema. Once, if not twice, to see films that have either had not great reviews or will get for free through one of those aforementioned streaming service, for fuck's sake. So I might have some films to talk about next week. If I do have some films to talk about next week, look out for me just seething through the whole thing. I'll be like, hey, I went to see a film that was 3 hours long before trailers, and it wasn't very good. Look out for that rant. It'll be an absolute pearl. I've played some computer games. Bit of a weird one. So I'll go through a couple and then I'll go through some other bits. Because it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy this week. Again, that I've been really enjoying recently is a game that I picked up cheap a little while ago. I think I probably mentioned it. I've been playing on the Steam Deck. I've been playing Everspace 2. I owned the first one, but it was a game that I had to get refunded at one point in time. Rebought at another point in time, and I still could never get it to work the way I wanted it to. So I just kind of left it because I was like, well, I bought it and got it refunded originally. What did I expect was going to happen the second time I bought it? Everspace 2, very much a different beast. Works perfectly fine on the Steam Deck. Plays quite well. I'm quite enjoying it. It's like a space. You have a little ship and you fly around in space and you do missions and go here, there, and everywhere. A review I checked out before buying it was like, you do reach a point that you are just like zipping between planets and different parts of the galaxy. And I was like, that has sort of started creeping in a little. But it's still fun. Played some Rise of the Ronin. That game just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like, I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, and I'm not saying I want it to end, but I honestly, at this point in time, wonder how much more they can put in. I got to a point where I was like, I think I'm now at the point where I'm probably going to finish this game. And I looked at the mission list, and it was like well over a page of missions, and some of them were in different regions that I've been to previously and had to travel back to. I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? It keeps going. I keep enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with this, but I'm just baffled at this point. VR-wise, I ended up in a bit of a weird VR situation. It must have been Thursday evening, because the reason that this result happened was because I was tired. So I was playing Into the Radius 2, and I got stuck. Not like couldn't progress, stuck. Was trying to achieve something in a really dangerous area, and I couldn't quite do it. And then I was like, am I going to be stuck here for the rest of time? And I was a bit like, I might just stop playing this game now. I've done everything I need to. I've achieved everything I need to achieve before. Once other stuff comes out, that'll be great. But right now, I don't really need to play this anymore. And I was just like in this like apartment building, sort of what you would kind of imagine like a Cold War rundown apartment building would look like. But couldn't find the thing I needed to find, so we're just going round and round and round and round and round and round and round this building. And there's this giant floating cube that if it sees you, it shoots you with lasers, basically. So I'm just in this thing where every now and then I get spotted and die, or just spend my time wandering around this building. I was like, maybe I'll just leave it. But I had a demo for a game to try. And the game is called Of Lies and Rain. And although it's a demo, I'd heard a lot of interesting things like, oh, this game's great, and oh my god, I can't believe it's a demo, and oh, it's so much promise, and this sort of stuff. And I was like, hey, it's a demo, it's free, I'll give it a go. Interesting. A couple of really interesting mechanics. It's very much a physics-based game, and the physics side of things seems to work really well. They've done a really good job on it. It's got a really good climbing mechanic. What I will say about that is it's really good, but only really properly utilised right at the start of the game. After that, it's not used to that level, is what I would say. It's a little bit light in areas, maybe the best way to describe it. Like, oh, here's a gun, but the gun's a bit meh. And, oh, you can do this, but it's a bit meh. It's fine, and especially for a demo, what you would imagine is sort of like early gameplay sort of stuff. It's I'll never knock anybody making something like a game. I'm never going to be able to knock somebody's ability. There is one glaring issue with this game / demo, and that is that whoever made it basically played Half-Life Alyx and then went, I've got a great idea for a game. Some of the stuff in the demo for Of Lies and Rain is almost directly lifted straight out of Half-Life Alyx, to the point where I was playing it like, guys, you couldn't have disguised it just a little bit? Ooh, I imagine Valve are going to be on the phone at some point, like, seriously? So yeah, I'm a bit like, maybe if you agree to remove those things, maybe we can all get along, kind of thing. However, I did play this straight after the Into the Radius thing, and I got so far and I was like, I think I'm just too tired. I'm too tired to play Into the Radius. 2, I'm too tired to look at this demo, I think I'm just going to turn all this stuff off and go to bed. As it was when I went back to Into the Radius 2 the next day, managed to do the bit I'd been stuck at for what felt like hours almost immediately. So I was like, I was just too tired last night. What that means is I need to go back to that demo and sort of try and better review it, better ingest it. So yes, I'll give that a go at some point, I think. Because there were things about it that were good, things about it that I liked. So we'll see. Right, there we go. That's that one done. I will catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. Sometimes I feel like I should apologise for my podcasts. Sometimes they're just all over the shop, aren't they? Yeah. Sorry, I guess. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? If you didn't like it in some way, you wouldn't listen. Maybe you're not even listening to this now. Maybe you never made it this far. Who knows? If you did make it this far, please consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review, and check out the podcast. Come on, man. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media linked and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That is it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cookie Cast.